Next question is by she asked, "Hi Sunny, will you please give me your input on the sudden unexpected death of someone close and grief or so can you please give me your input on the sudden and unexpected death of someone close and grief?" I believe that as much as we accept life, we must also come to accept death. Just as much as we accept the celebration when there is a birth, just as much should we accept the perhaps the grief or the sadness that comes with death. But notice how you don't really raise a question about the celebration that comes with birth. That's not when you become curious. That's not when you begin to question deeply. Because you're saying yes so fully to birth and the celebration, the pleasantness, the happiness. And so the happenings happen and they pass. But when something is lost, when someone passes and there's grief and there's sadness, you further say no to this. And this sadness, this grief is what makes you ponder, makes you want to, this deep suffering that comes with loss of something that you identify with, a person, a thing, a job, another object. That makes you question. The grief is very, very natural. The sadness is very, very natural once you identify with an object of awareness. The people in our life, the things in our life, our own beliefs, our own ideas about ourselves, there's a deep identification. And when something is lost, it's almost like a losing of myself. It is almost like becoming a lesser being. And so the grief offers you a powerful opportunity to see if this is actually the case. It's a powerful opportunity to investigate what dies. From looking from a personal point of view, just a regular point of view, not even someone who's into these teachings or anything, looking from their point of view, when someone dies, a whole person just disappears, right? So you should not make any conclusions about this. Be genuinely open to anything and actually investigate in your experience without trying to make conclusions, without trying to come to some answer that someone else is giving you. Try to see what dies. What is the me that dies? Because even looking at the other person, what is the other person? It's the body. It's the actions of the person, the behavior, the personality, all those things that I can sort of pinpoint. But there's a certain aliveness about that person that animates all those things that we just mentioned. the aliveness which animates the personality, the aliveness which animates the behaviors and the actions, the aliveness that animates, illuminates the body. But that aliveness is not something that I can pinpoint in the other or in myself. The aliveness is not something that I can point to, that I can put in a box, that I can label in any way. Does that which has no objective quality, does that one die? Even maybe perhaps even take a look at yourself, you know? When I pass, what will die? And an example that you can use to sort of even explore this with is look at many of the electrical appliances in your house. You have an AC, you have a light, you have a laptop, you have, okay, so I'll talk about my house. I have this mic, the lights over there, the toaster oven, all these electrical appliances, each with a different function, different quality, different capacity, different attribute, different limits of their own to what how they can function, what they can provide. But it is the same electricity that powers all. When this mic breaks down, does the electricity, what happens to it? You know, the mic will die, but what happens to the electricity? The toaster oven, is that using a different electricity than this? It's all the same. And when that toaster oven, with its limits, whatever they are, just to be able to heat, that breaks down, what happens to the electricity? And a popular example is also this in the Advaita teachings. It's gold. Gold, which takes the form of many things. It could become a bracelet. It could become like an thing that you put on your ankle. It could become a ring, a necklace. And this necklace, I could make it. I could melt it down again and make it into something else. The necklace disappears, but what happens to the gold? Is that in any way gone? Does that disappear? Is that in any way affected? Is that in any way losing its realness? So see that that which you experience as real here and now is not what you see. The world is constantly changing, and literally, like, even this experience right now of you hearing me talk and you thinking and all this stuff, literally 5 minutes from now, or let to make it more real for you, an hour from now or later tonight, when you look back at it, it will be like dreamlike. It's literally non-existent, this experience. So my words, my appearance, the world, your own body, all these things are appearances that are sort of constantly just changing and coming and going in and out of existence. But the aliveness that you feel so fully here and now, that aliveness, is it an object that ever came into being? You see, this aliveness, does it come into being as an object? Because only that which comes into being as an object can be born and die. So subtle things we're talking about, but see this. That which never came into being as an object, can that one pass? If it never came, how can it pass? So again, when you think about things like this, when you investigate into things like this, don't seek to come to a conclusion. Be open, though. Be open to the possibility that that which I am does not pass. Just open to the possibility, not creating a conclusion, because we don't want it to become another belief. Because then we'll just believe, oh, I am eternal. But we must investigate in the way that we just spoke of here and now, with the complete openness that that which I am, the aliveness, the awareness, the knowingness, that which is not an object, that there's a possibility that that does not pass. And inquiry, what is inquiry? It is you actually seeing. You know the question, who am I? What is aware? Why do we ask such questions? Is because right now I'm all I know, my assumed experience is that I, this body, am aware. And so we assume a limitation on this awareness. We believe that it is the body doing the awareness, it is the mind doing the awareness. And so self inquiry is a tool that helps you reverse this paradigm. It helps you correct your position. It is not the body from where the awareness is happening, but instead, right? It's not the body that is the deepest reference point for what I am, but you start to see through inquiry in the way that we conduct it that the body, the thoughts, the emotions, my personality, my beliefs, everything is objective in the knowing. That knowing in which they appear and change. And you're being invited to see if the knowing itself is that an object that ever came into being. So ponder these things. And certainly it is, again, you don't question these things when someone is born and there's a great happiness and joy. So right now, when there's suffering, when there's grief, there's a greater questioning. Because when there's grief, when there's suffering, you are saying no to what happens. Your thought and emotion are saying no to what is happening. It is because at the heart of that saying no, there's an assumed limited identity as a person, this body, which is related to that body. When the other body on the news that dies, I don't really care because I'm not identified, I'm not related. But when this one that is close to me, that I have a lot of sense of self invested in, when this passes, then automatically I realize that I am mortal. That this body also may pass. So not only does there's a deep sadness because I say no, this one should not pass, but also I am reminded of my own of the body's own mortalness. And so it makes you deeply question. I forget who said this, but there's a quote, something similar to like, it is only our fear of or our mortal nature, like the fact that we will die, that is the only reason we ever even um, become curious about anything deeper. If you were just, if the body and mind were just immortal forever, a constant, then there would be no deeper longing to know anything deeper than just personal experience. So times like this, although that those are the times where it's the toughest to really do this sort of investigative work, that is the most powerful opportunity. Suffering will truly um, be that catalyst, giving you that open space for where you can go deeper, where all the stuff of your life, like your relationships, your goals and all that stuff, in the moment when someone passes and there's great grief, all that stuff doesn't matter. None of that stuff even matters an ounce. All that, even if you had like, you're a big like hot shot and you had something big tomorrow that you've been preparing for 6 months, it just starts, it just like, if someone really close to you passes, that won't be that important to you. So everything takes the back seat, and you're reminded of the mortal nature of the body. So investigate deeply in the way that we just spoke of, and see what is what dies. What is the I that dies? Elizabeth said, this is an excellent example to want good feelings and that it doesn't raise curiosity. No wonder we have to feel pain to evolve. You have to feel pain until you no longer have to feel pain to evolve, you know? So that's the beautiful part about this is if if you're wise, you will learn the lesson quick and you won't wait for pain. Pain comes as like an unwillingness to move with life, to flow with life. When we start clinging or resisting, and the clinging and resisting happens because of what? A limited identity. No, only living from the belief, the assumption, not something we think every day, but the assumption that I am this body. The moment that there's this assumption is the ground for my life on which I build my everything else, then automatically I will cling and resist. I will only fight for the gain of this one, and I will tirelessly avoid the loss of this one, whether that be the other people, money, health, anything. So when life is allowed to flow as it is, and you remain as an open yes, no, saying no is against your true nature. Awareness is like an open yes, not as in like, yes, I like this, but instead of just a pure allowance. Think of it. Even the death of someone close to you, there's an awareness of it. In the awareness, this experience is not being known less than the birth of one close to you. So awareness is an open yes to all experience. The moment there's a no, that is when suffering happens. And the no can come in the form of clinging or resisting. Both clinging and resisting are resistance in their unique form. So naturally, when we cling and resist and the pain starts to really brew up, that is what we call suffering. And then that makes us question deeply because we're sort of going, we're life, the appearance of life as we know it turns into something that is not in alignment with our true nature. And that is what continues to feel more and more bad. And so as you allow life to flow, there will be gain and there will be loss. There will be pain and there will be pleasure, but there won't be suffering. And there will be a continuous deepening of the understanding. Anita said, I was questioning the same thing this week in meditation, and I opened up the Yoga Sutras and then later the Tao. Both said just what you did here, and that there is purpose in this kind of suffering to bring us home. And that helped a lot. This program's meditation has helped me so much with death and grief. Really good to hear that. And I actually